Ladies and gentlemen, what's happening? Back at it again here, and this time we're going to walk you through how to set up an SMS campaign. For anybody that has been wondering, yes, text messaging is definitely a proven way to engage with people at a higher rate than even email is, because people have their phones on them all the time, and it's just a little bit more of a trusted source often than email is. So if you're able to tap into this space, it's kind of the next stage up the value ladder of how you can communicate with somebody. And so it's definitely a powerful way to do that and something to consider doing. But often, sometimes it seems a little bit confusing or elusive. There's different ways to do this. There's companies that this is solely what they do is help people to be able to create, short codes that people are able to text to and opt them into campaigns, et cetera, and whatnot. But I'm going to show you how to do this directly right within the DU ecosystem. So if you have Digital Unicorn, you're working with us, you're rocking with us, or you're considering jumping into the platform, we're going to show you how to do that right within the system here. And it's pretty easy, actually. So right from the gate, we're going to jump into our workflow space here under automations, okay? Because this is an automation that you're basically setting up. I have a template that I haven't done anything yet. I just named it. So as you can see, SMS opt-in campaign is what I named it. And for those that have been wondering or heard me say it before, I highly, highly, highly recommend you name all your workflows, all your campaigns, all the steps, etc. for organization. It's super helpful down the road once you got like hundreds and whatnot, or even less than that actually, but nonetheless. All right. So as you may already know, within a workflow, there's two things that you need to know about it. One is that you have to have a trigger. There's something that's kickstarting this process to begin. That's a trigger. And the follow-up to that is an action. All right. So in this case, our trigger is we want to, let's say hypothetically, engage with the person or ask them to opt in to a campaign that we're going to run by texting us. Okay. So we're basically saying, hey, text this to this number and get the free guide or get 10% off your next order. It really doesn't matter what kind of business you're running or what kind of industry that you're in. You can do this for that. All right. And so basically, if you have a number already connected within DU, you're going to be able to ask people to just text you a particular phrase or a keyword, etc. And that's going to start this process where now they've opted in to you being able to communicate with them. So the trigger that we're going to look for in this case is called customer replied. All right. Now within the customer reply trigger, again, I'm going to name this for organization purposes. Okay. And then we're going to filter this on down. All right. We want to basically find out the reply channel because there's multiple channels somebody could reply to. And if you have different things hooked up to your account here, then they could easily do that within a call, a chat widget, email, Facebook Messenger, Google My Business, from IG, live chat, WhatsApp, okay, and text messaging, which is what this example is about. All right, so we're going to choose SMS. Now we want to filter this down even further because let's say the person is going to text us, but there's a couple different ways you could slice this. Like if you just want them to be able to contain a particular word or phrase within the reply, then that's what you would use contains phrase. But if you want to minimize, I guess you could say the mistakes and you want to make sure that the person who's opting in actually does want to opt into this, then you'd want to choose exact match phrase. Okay. And let's say they reply to you, bootcamp 2025, because it's a unique keyword, right? Not everybody's going to just be randomly texting you bootcamp 2025. So a bot's not typically going to be doing that. So you'd want to make it unique to a particular campaign that you have. And let's say that's the case. All right. We might even filter this down depending on your setup in your account. If you have multiple numbers, if not, it's just going to be to the number that's attached to this account. But in the event that you did have multiple numbers, you'd want to choose this filter as well, and then choose the number that you have. In this case, I just got this one in this demo account. All right. I'm going to save that. So now that we have a trigger set up here, which again, I'll show you what it is. So it's customer replied in the channel for SMS. We chose to have an exact phrase where they would text us bootcamp 2025 to this particular number that I have connected here. Okay, that's the trigger. Now the follow-up action to this, I'd recommend is that you automatically add a tag to it, because if they're texting you, you don't have their name, you don't have their email, you don't have any other information, company, website, any of that stuff. It's just a number that you're going off of. So you need to have a starting point. And with that, I would add a tag to it. And it might be, you might say bootcamp 2025 is the tag. I'll just put that here for an example. Okay. bootcamp 25, and let's just say SMS. So bootcamp 2025 SMS. I'm gonna add that as a tag. So now I know that anybody that ends up being tagged with this came in through this particular workflow. All right. So now that we got a tag, we're like, okay, what do you want to do with them? There's a couple different things you could do. You could reply right back to them through a text message. Okay. And if you have a template set up already, that's where this would go. But in this example, we don't have a template. Thanks for reaching out. We'll just say, here's your next step toward Bootcamp 2025. Okay. Obviously, I'm just making this up on the fly, but it could be, a downloadable that you're sending them. It could be a link that you sent them to go register for something. Maybe it's a coupon code for a discount off of a product or an event, etc. Whatever it is, you can put that in here. Okay. You can obviously add attachments too, but it's limited on its file size based on it being an SMS. So I'd be cognizant of that, and more of a fan of actually using trigger links if you're going to do something like that. All right. Now I'm going to pause right there because I want to actually explain what I just said here about a trigger link. Let's save this. I'm going to save this workflow, and let's back up out of here. All right. And I'm not going to go into the settings and your number already being opted into be able to do text-based messaging, because if you're watching this video, my guess is you've already connected a number and it's already been authorized to communicate with people and you're compliant with the regulatory bodies for that. But what I would want to jump into just momentarily, because I mentioned it, is the trigger link idea here. Okay. Now, if you're ever wondering what that is, trigger links are basically customized URLs that the system tracks if somebody clicks on it. So you can kind of gauge how effective your text messaging is towards that audience and seeing if they're even clicking on the link that they're getting. All right. So that's what that is for. I don't have anything here just yet, but I'm going to give you an example. So I'm just going to go into my media, and ideally you'd have already something in your media storage. So you might have, a coupon code, or you might have, what can I think of? You might have a downloadable item, or you might have, somewhere you're going to route them to. Let's say a particular checkout page that maybe it's not a public page and you want them to check it out, or to check out on that page and enter in the discount code or something like that. All right. That's something that you can leverage. All right. So let me see if I have something like that here. This is just a demo account that I use for examples and whatnot. So I have limited stuff in here currently, but let's just say, all right, I'm just going to use this right here. So let's say this is the link. Okay. So I got this image in here, and let's say this was a coupon, right? And it had a coupon code on there. Then I'm going to copy that link right here. Okay. I'm going to go back to my trigger links under marketing, trigger links, right? Links. I'm going to add a link, paste that link here, and I'm going to give it a name here. So let's just say it was Bootcamp 2025. That's what we called it, I think, right? So we're going to save that. All right. So now you can see we got Bootcamp 2025 here. Now there's nothing here to analyze, right? So we're not gonna mess with this right here right now, but that is where you could do a little bit of back-end analysis of what's going on with these. But now that we got the trigger link in here, we're gonna go back into our workflow. Okay, so under automations, workflows, we're gonna go back to this workflow, and we're gonna go back to this step here where the text message was that we were gonna follow up with them. So it's like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Here's your next step towards Bootcamp 2025. Click the following link to get your discount or something, right? And then you're going to go here, trigger links. And as you can see, that's the only one in here so far. So I'm going to click that. Now, don't get scared that it looks like this. This is just the way on the back end on how it registers what it is and keeps track of it, because it's unique to this particular link that you put in here. When it's going out on the outbound side, it doesn't look like that. It looks a lot cleaner, actually. Okay. And obviously you can test these things before you send them out. But if we're like, hey, this is cool, I like what I got here, then we're going to go ahead and save that action. And then you can follow from here however you see fit. If it's a contact that, or somebody you want to then follow up with and get their information, maybe you're sending them an opt-in form for that, or maybe you're adding them into a community that you have already. whatever the case is, this is the point where you can start nurturing this client once they've already opted in. Because if they're opting in for something from you, then they're willingly wanting to engage with you. And so that gives you kind of permission, if you would, to continue forward and build on that relationship. All right. So I want to recap really quick what I just went through on doing an SMS opt-in campaign here. All right. So from the inception, we're in the automation spot under workflows. We created a workflow. And within this workflow, we have a trigger. That trigger is customer replied, right? The channel on the filter here, the first filter, the channel is SMS. The exact phrase that we're wanting them to text us would be Bootcamp 2025, and it's going to this particular number, okay? That's the trigger. We save it. We're going to follow up that with a tag, a specific tag here, because maybe I got another one that's going out through email, let's just say. That's why I put SMS here. And then the follow-up text message. What are you sending back to the person once they've actually opted into you? And then this is the follow-up, okay? I mentioned trigger links and how to create a trigger link here via the marketing tab and trigger links, okay? We created that and put that in here. And again, that trigger link is basically a customized URL that allows you to track the performance of the clicking for that URL, all right? So I hope all that makes sense. Hope that's helpful. Hope that inspires you to go on and move forward and actually implementing, being able to set up SMS campaigns, because again, highly effective, higher open rate than a typical email campaign is. And so if you can get to this point and get people to share with you their number, then you're well on your way to building that relationship up. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we will catch you next time.